Hello and welcome to another episode of Mews Mini R&D podcast. Today with staff service designer Sofía Santos.
Hello.
And welcome and thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sofía, if you could give us 30 seconds or maybe a minute, let's see, explanation of what you do. Who are you?
Wow. Who am I? Service design. What it does, it takes a whole experience and it basically understands what's happening throughout it. Like the interactions a person can have with either a product, a brand, the experience that they go through while they onboard and configure it, the support they have, and everything in between.
Are there some good ones, good examples that you can think of that are maybe not related to news or even software products? Mm-hmm. Anything that you like or you get inspiration from?
Yeah. So I think travel, airports, right? Everybody's bought a ticket. We've all interacted with this airplane brand that either we love or hate. But everything that you do when you're interacting with that brand, that's part of service design because you're interacting in the brand in different ways, either a chat or in person, via a space or through a digital product. So our role here and our job is really to make it feel like one and not make it feel like it's stitched up moments and stitched up experiences.
And what would be the example on the airport? What am I doing that I'm actually following the right design that the airline wanted me to do?
Yeah, exactly. How you bought your ticket, just as a first case, right? Was it through your web? Was it through the app? Did you go to the brand office? When you're in the airport, how are you guided into the spaces? Have you interacted with a person representing the brand? What did they tell you? Are the signals in the space well thought of?
And you have to go through the duty free, right?
Yeah.
You have to go through it and exactly look at it so you get something out of it.
Be sure to buy some chocolates, right?
And something out of your personal life that you would give as an example, because I know that you you are one of those people that live their job everywhere.
Yeah, I'm in an offsite right now, and we did an exercise of knowing the two sides of the personal and the professional. For me, there's a part of it that I can't sort of break free of, right? So the service designer in me, for example, we've recently built a house, we're building a kitchen, we've prototyped everything in that kitchen.
When you say we, is it you?
It's basically me forcing my partner to do this because he's also doing the build of the kitchen. So it's like, okay, let's figure out how we're interacting with the space. Let's figure out what utensils we're using and when we're using them. Let's figure out the way that a door should open and why. So it has been really, really interesting.
A little bit nerdy, but I like that.
Yeah, also very nerdy.
And what would you say are common misconceptions of service design? I'm sure there must be many. I'm sure you have to sometimes even explain to people what you do and why you do it.
Wow, a lot. And also, service design, that's how it's been called recently, but it can be a lot. And I think also the misconceptions happen from the nomenclature of it. But there's actually a misconception that I do want to touch on and tell you about, which has to do with workshops. So it's actually two tensions. The people from the industry, they tell you, get out of there, don't do any workshops, they're not strategic enough, right? And then there's the people that actually go to your workshops, they think that's the only thing you do. So there's a very, very much misconception. And then workshops is just a tool, right? I think the magic is actually what happens before, understanding the problem, understanding the people that are going to go to a workshop, understanding what needs to happen there, because it's all very carefully thought of. And then, of course, what happens after that with the outcomes from that workshop.
So what are the concrete examples of non-workshop work that you do?
Non-workshop is all the discoveries we do, right? So we love services. So we love seeing and living those services. So going into a place to actually understand what is going on, what are the interactions, how are people responding to it. So we do that. We do the discoveries. We map it out visually. By map it out, I mean like put visual artifacts to processes. Lots of arrows, lots of big red things that saying, hey, there's a pain point there. And then, we do creativity sessions. We help companies and people in their companies think creatively.
And so here you go to talk to the customers?
Yeah, not as much as I'd like to.
Because you're busy with workshops, right?
I mean, service design here in Mews, it's very organizational led, which is okay. But that also means that most of the time we're really discovering the journeys from our perspective. What's going on in our departments? What tools are we using? And then, of course, we think of the customer and we sort of portray that as well. But most of the time it's organizational led, and very much times I would just love to have a customer in there to tell me personally about their experience, right? Or just shadow a customer from start to finish, from the moment they become a prospect all the way when they're already talking to their customer success managers.
So your customers are often our own people, our engineers, our product managers, or maybe even our salespeople or support?
Yes, all aboard, like all across the board. So it's R&D people, it's R&D stakeholders, it's go-to-market stakeholders, and then sometimes it's customer stakeholders as well.
I know you've done events with customers, so I know you say that you would like to do more. So it's great that there is already something in place, but I'm sure there's always space for doing more.
Yeah.
But there's also 24 hours in a day, so.
Yeah, it's also like sometimes you feel that you know something, but it's because you kind of ran out of things to know in where you're sitting, right? So it's very important to get out, either from your perspective, your standpoint, your role, or in this case, out of Mews into the customer's side of things.
You're now part of a growth and ecosystem, or how's the because there were some restructures.
Yes.
So what's the name of the place that you are part of, and what does it translate to?
Okay, so yes, I'm now sitting in the growth tribe, and so I'm kind of floating along the growth tribe, but then slightly more embedded in the ecosystem team. So what does that look like? What does that mean? So I'm not really helping design features, right? So I'm not looking at dashboards nor configuration. I mean, I touch on that, but I'm not specifically the one leading that designs. What I'm mostly focused is on direction. What does our ecosystem look like? Or what does our ecosystem feel like, right? What should we feel like? And also, what's our maturity towards that vision? So that's, again, touching end-to-end processes and understanding how do we want ecosystem to be, and not only think about that future state, but also look at that current state of things and try to improve how we're rolling out or how we're doing things today.
So if I understand it correctly, it's a little more strategic. It's not what we deliver tomorrow, but how we actually embed all the, even as we have M&A, we buy new products, we need to add them, and I guess that's the ecosystem that you're talking about, right?
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned mergers and acquisitions, because it also sits under something that I'm very much also implicated with, which is very tied to growth and ecosystem, which is product-led growth, right? So also my role in there is also to see it and see how product-led growth takes us to new spaces, right? How can we put motions in place in this end-to-end journey that are product-led? But of course, not losing sight of the customer, not losing sight of what happens before and what happens next of this set motions.
If you would pick one project that you're currently working on, or something that you've worked on and you were really like, okay, this is really impactful, or maybe something that you wished were more impactful. So is there anything that really stuck with you and you think about a lot, or you still work on?
I think about a lot of things. But I think a recent example, which was really, it kind of clicked, that moment when you're seeing how it's all coming together. We took an ideal vision of what our journey should look like by the end of 2026. Okay, so what are we doing from start to finish? And we put a lot of stakeholders in a room together, and we thought about signals. So basically, signals is, what things do we know we want from our customer? What do we need to know about our customer to make better decisions? And when do we need to know these things? And we mapped it out, right? So it was a clicking moment because we had a lot of stakeholders. We were thinking about these needs and the signals in a very human language. Like we thought about them as questions, like, have we approached this prospect yet? Does the customer currently have Mews RMS? How much changes are they doing in a system in a day? Things like that. And it was just a moment where everything came together, that vision, that planning for product-led growth, that journey, and then from that journey, the data needs, and from the needs, we're going to take them to the structural of that data field. So it was a good moment.
So we have a lot to look forward at the end, 31st of December 2026.
Yeah. It's going to be an exciting year, I believe.
Yeah, and you all, very often when we talk or when I see you speaking across Slack, we talk a lot about, now I have a blank, I have the...
Check your notes. No
crazy.
Problem.
Experimentation.
Oh, yeah.
It's a difficult word.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
It's fine. I forgot it. So when you talk about experimentation, what does it mean? And I hear a lot, or not a lot, but sometimes I hear we don't experiment enough. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean, experimentation, and how should we do it more, and how should we get all involved?
Yeah, we hear a lot like we need to experiment, we need to try things more, we need to validate faster, right? So that we know we're on the correct path. So what does good experimentation look like to me? It looks like the correct balance of playfulness, right? There needs to be a playfulness element when you're experimenting. You're trying out, like even a crazy scientist, right? Like they're doing some experiments, but an experiment has a purpose. You're trying to find X, right? And you're dealing with whatever ingredients or whatever methodologies. So I find that experimentation needs to have that play element. It needs to have an outcome focus, of course, but it needs to also have some structures in place so that we're able to find things out. And when you, like I said, when you move yourself outside from your comfort zone and when you play, you're more open to discover new things than when you weren't playing or you weren't experimenting.
And of course, it wouldn't be a podcast in 2026 if I didn't ask about AI. So how much AI actually helps you with that experimentation? Because you always hear you can do things much faster with AI. So is that the case for you and your team as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've been leveraging AI in the service design field, like for creating images that help people imagine what you're telling, a narrative, right? Sometimes we're dealing with very much like future state journeys. Images help, image creation using AI. And also I found that AI is a great thought partner, right? When you prompt it to be creative, when you prompt it to be thoughtful, it creates great ideas. Yeah,
but you always have to tell the AI, be a little harsh on me, because I feel like very often they're too nice to me. I kind of like it.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah, I was literally prompting it like, be critical. You know, tell me some of the things that I haven't thought of
sometimes
before.
I need to hear you're doing good, Jan. You know, and it's probably AI is the only element that tells me. So if anyone wants to learn more about service design, where should they go apart from going to you?
I mean, it should start kind of internally, in the curious aspect. Like when you interact with a service, when you go for coffee to your favorite coffee shop, when you're going to the doctor, be attentive. What's happening? How are you feeling?
Should we give feedback? Should we tell our doctor it should have been different
I don't know. I don't think
before
so.
or after they treat us?
I mean, I've always wanted to be involved in like the public sector, but if you're not there to design it, like, I don't think you should. But be attentive of how it's making you feel and then apply it to your own sector, right? Like, I've taken much inspiration from those things that I observe in my personal life and then say, okay, how can I sort of translate it back to Mews?
And is there any book that you like?
So there's this mapping experiences. I think it's great. It's all about mapping visuals. But I mean, there's like the classics. This is service design thinking. This is service design doing.
The classics.
The classics. And then there's tons of creativity models that you can sign up and just get yourself comfortable with feeling uncomfortable.
Well, Sofía, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming all the way from Madrid. And as always, if you are in Mews, you can reach out to me or Sofía on Slack. If you're not on Slack, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn. Do you respond on LinkedIn?
Yes, I do.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.